Have you ever felt like no matter where you are, you're letting someone down? When you're in your business, you feel guilty you're not with your family. When you're with your family, you feel guilty you're not doing enough in your business. Today's guest, Stephanie Ross, knows the struggle all too well. As a new mom and entrepreneur, she's wrestled with the pressure to be everything to everyone and the guilt of feeling like it's never enough. Here is her story about overworking, overbusy patterns, and how we can have more presence in our lives and what she's doing. I was just in her beautiful Soul Circles community doing a training with her beautiful community out of Wisconsin. So if you're in Wisconsin, you got to talk to her because it was amazing. It was so cool. And she just has this beautiful energy, and I felt so uplifted by her beautiful community. So before we dive into the Stephanie and her wonderful story and her human design chart, we're going to have a somatic peace investment. Remember, this is just 2 minutes to invest in your peace, because your peace really brings more success. It brings more alignment. It brings more flow that's faster than you ever dreamed possible. It allows you to have dreams and hopes. A lot of times this journey can feel cloudy and heavy, and you get to invest in your peace. And when you do so, you, instead of wanting to burn it all down or go do something else, you can find the way to build it all up and to support yourself and to support your vision and everyone else in the process as well. So let's go ahead before we dive into it. If you're walking, or I was about to say riding your bike, but that could be it too. Whatever you're doing, keep doing what you're doing. But if you're in a comfortable position sitting down, you can go ahead and close down your eyes. If you're able to, place one hand on your heart and one on your belly. Close your eyes and breathe deeply. Feel your stomach full with an exhale. Feel the rise and the fall of your chest. Get really in tune with your body. Bring to mind one area where guilt has been following you, maybe as a mom, as a business owner, a partner, just trying to do it all. On your inhale, imagine breathing compassion into that space. As you exhale, let the guilt loosen and fall away. Let the perfection fall away. Let the "what could I have done? What should I have done?" fall away. Those are not serving you. Those are not helping you. Those are not guiding you. Now, silently or aloud, repeat these mantras. I am doing the best I can. That is enough. I release the guilt that doesn't belong to me. I am allowed to rest, breathe, and be human. I trust that my best is more than good enough. I choose to see myself with love and compassion. I am proud of how far I've come, even if the journey isn't perfect. Let your body feel that truth. You are already amazing, already worthy, already doing enough. Already, you are who you're meant to be, and you're expanding to even more good. Even more good things are coming towards you. And you get to celebrate those moments. Celebrate receiving joy into your life. Celebrate receiving all the miracles that are happening for you, for your good. When you're ready, you can put your hands at a comfortable position. Roll your shoulders and come back to this space. Great job. I know there's so many times in my life too that I can get in the loop of you could have done better at this or that, or if you can't be a good mom all the time, then how can you build this business throughout the world? Or how can you do this or whatever? Fill in the blank, right? Have we all been there? And there is beauty in the progress. There is beauty for me acknowledging that I don't have to be perfect. I get to learn too. And I think too, that's something that I've been thinking about for a long time is like every moment in my life, I get to learn how to be better, how to do better, how to love more, how to forgive more, how to love myself even more. And it's a journey, you know? It's never about the destination or the one thing, you know? I always get the opportunity to learn and to grow every single day. And if I can think about it like that, it brings so much less pressure into my life and just so much more joy. So I'm so excited that I get to introduce you to Stephanie Ross. She's a speaker, author, coach, and she helps female entrepreneurs build thriving, soul-driven business. With more than a decade experience, she founded her fitness and yoga studio over 20 years ago and scaled it to successful six figures. Throughout her entrepreneurial journey, Stephanie encounters significant obstacles, and yet these challenges inspire her to pivot and create the Sister Circle, a vibrant community where women can connect, learn, and grow uh, profitable, sustainable success together. And you know, I'm all about sustainable success, right? We don't need to run fast in order to get the success. That is a myth. So remember to pull your human design chart and get those deeper insights for you to know how you can get to your success with quick and ease and way more peace. So, all right, I'll see you inside the episode. Stephanie, thank you so much for being on the show today. I'm so excited to have you here.
Thank you, Courtney. I am so excited to be here as well.
It's so great. And I'm excited to jump into your human design chart, which is fantastic. And before we get into that, I want to know you're a new mom and you're balancing being a female founder and a mom and trying to hold both of those spaces at the same time. What has been some of the hardest moments trying to hold both?
Oof, digging in deep right away here. I love it.
Yes.
I love the depth. The hardest moments. Well, I recently launched my first book in the end of May this year. And while that was so fun and exciting, and I'm still launching the book in a way, like it continues on throughout the year, just being able to chase some of these big goals and dreams that I have while taking care of a tiny human that I really want to be present for. So I feel like my biggest challenges have come when I am really excited about the work that I'm doing and the businesses that I'm building, but yet I also am trying to be very present and intentional with the time that I spend with my son. So I think that is my biggest challenge because as a big dreamer, as a female founder, entrepreneur, like I when I get excited about my work, I just want to work on it, right? And I don't get to always do that when I am, feeling that inspirational call. So finding that balance of presence and quality time while also chasing those big dreams and those hits of inspiration that I have.
Yeah, and I think this relates to so many people, whatever phase they are in their life, that and as just as moms, we're always have one part of our brain and our heart with our kids. Like my kids are older, but I was just helping one of them with some college stuff this morning and I was like, I gotta go, I've got some meetings and there's always things that are going to be that we're going to have to hold space for both at the same time. And you are a generator. So with your generator energy, like
Yes,
getting that
it's hard.
emotion, you're like, I'm always going, I'm always moving, I'm
Mhm.
always thinking. But I think it's this, what you said so beautifully is being present in the moments of the spaces that we're in. When we're in business, we're present there. When we're home, we're present there. What challenges have you seen as you've been trying to be present in each of those spaces?
So the beauty of entrepreneurship is that we get to make our own schedule. So I've
Yeah.
really tried to lean into that and I've intentionally taken either like a full or half day off during the
Yeah.
week to spend with my son, who's almost 10 months old. So we would go to
Oh my
baby and me
gosh.
yoga, or we would go to this like great support group or go to the library. I would like try to find an activity for us to do.
Mhm.
That was really important to me. I even put it on my
Yes.
vision board, and I've pretty consistently done that every single week this since he's been born and since my maternity leave. But there are so many weeks when I am just like scrambling to get all of my work done for the
Yes.
week. Before that day. So it's usually on Fridays. So it's like I am busting my butt Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday to try to squeeze 4 days of work in. And, so that I can be really present and intentional. And things still come up on the times in days, on the weekends. I'm also a realtor, so like having that flexibility in my schedule is really important. But for my other work, I can be really focused on, okay, this is when I'm doing this during the weekdays so that I can spend that time with him during the weeknights and on the weekends. But there are so many weeks when I almost feel a little guilty taking that
Yeah.
day or half day because I still have work to do, or, I have things that I want to move the needle on and I don't always get to them in that week. But then I also remind myself how young he is and how fast he's growing, and that, these first couple years just go so quickly that I don't want to miss anything. So that's been a constant pull back and forth between like,
Yes.
oh, I feel guilty not getting all the work projects done that I should be, or that I'm feeling inspired to complete. But then I also feel guilty if I don't take that intentional time during the week because that's why I'm an entrepreneur, right? So that I am not working essentially a 9 to 5 job so that I can spend more time with my family. So that is probably one of the biggest challenges that I've had all year since he's been born. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I think for everybody listening too, it's going to be a challenge. It's always going to be a challenge. It's always going to feel like this teeter totter of balance.
Yeah.
And balance is just that. It's like at some points, it's going to be more focused on one thing. At other points, it's going to be more focused on other. And I think the thing that a lot of us as women feel is this guilt, this guilt for either taking time for ourselves or taking time to like, oh, I got to do this heavy project. I have to travel or whatever it
Yeah.
is. Or like your book, finishing up your book and getting it published.
Yes.
You have to like, really
Yeah.
hone in on that and not spend as much time in other personal areas. So,
Hmm.
how do you like, has it been a challenge to stop the guilt from like taking over your mindset? Because it's been a challenge for me at times, for sure.
Yeah, I never really understood mom guilt until I became a
Yes.
mom, right? Like I just think you just don't know until you are in it. But it is so true because it's like you feel it either way. When you're working, you want to be with your kids. When you're with your kids, you want to be working sometimes. So it's like that balance both ways. So as far as like how to manage that, I guess,
Yes.
just really being focused on the work that I am doing so that I do feel like I am getting things done every week. So I have very, very consistent habits and routines that I do going into my week, knowing what to move the needle
Mm,
on and what to focus on so that I can be super intentional in the time that I'm working. And then it's like I'm still getting things done. There's no
yes.
week that I'm not hitting one of my big to-dos,
Yes.
right? So it's like even if I don't hit all of them, it's okay because I'm at least getting the important things done every single week, and then the rest just stays on my radar, right, until it's, like, really needing to
Yes.
actually be a deadline. So working ahead, being super strategic, mindful of my time, mindful of my
Yes.
energy, which is where, like, human
Yes.
design has been very helpful because I not only multi-business owner, I'm a
Yeah.
multi-passionate person that I'm
Yes.
fueled by what inspires me and lights me up. So I have to be really strategic and make sure that my week is still filled with some of those things. So I don't get to the end of the week, then I'm taking a day off with my son and I'm feeling like, oh, I didn't get to this
Yeah.
one thing that I really wanted to do for my business or for this project. So really just comes down to like, I think knowing myself really well and
Yeah.
being super intentional with where I'm spending my time and energy every week.
Yeah, totally. And especially with your generator energy, you have said yes to a lot of things in the past. And generators also get to say no to things.
Hmm.
One of my favorite phrases that I use with human design and with my clients is uh, delegate, diminish, or delete. So we're looking
Hmm.
at a whole, like as a big picture, but also in the micro management of each day. What can I delegate? What can I delete? What can I diminish? And realizing that it is okay to do that. And we don't, the guilt doesn't help anybody. It doesn't help us
No.
at all. And it's okay to release that and be like, "You know what? That's not gonna serve me. That's not helping me. I don't need to feel guilty. I can either change a situation if I don't feel like I'm doing, what I want, but I have the power to choose where my time, energy, love, all the things go to, and it's okay." And one of the things too with this is we see a lot of people have sabotaging characters in their life and patterns that come up over and over and over again. And we've kind of touched on like this overworking interferer, this interferer that creates more stress and more anxiety, which is overworking, and feeling every moment, pushing through, having huge to do lists. And have you noticed that pattern showing up for you?
I lived so many years in overworking, so many, like my whole first decade of entrepreneurship. I've been at this since I was 20. So 12 years, I ran my first business, which was a fitness and yoga studio for a full
Oh,
decade. And that was the definition of overworking because I taught classes at 5 a.m., 5 p.m., 8 p.m., and then I worked all day long. So I pulled back from that business, completely closed it because I wanted to start my family. So I think when I start to feel myself lean into that burnout or feel that overworking or just overwhelm tendency, I have a radar that goes off of like you do not want to go back here again. You've already been here.
whoa.
Like you've intentionally built your life and your business to not be that. So I feel like lately I've actually not been that. I feel
Oh, nice.
which is interesting
Yeah.
because sometimes I feel like I'm not doing enough right now because I am
Yes.
intentionally spending most of my evenings with my son, which is what
Yes.
I left that first business to do because I taught classes every night and I don't have to do that anymore. And I haven't even been working that much on the weekends, which is incredible. So now I'm in this weird place where I'm not overworking, but I feel like I could be doing more, but I'm also like aware of that like phase of burnout. And so it's almost like I have the awareness of overworking and I don't want to feel that way. But sometimes I feel like this is where it's like if I had 5 days a week that I was working, I'd be just fine, right? So this is like the constant battle that I face right now, I think is like I could be doing more. I could run
Yes.
faster. I could this and that, but this need to like be present, slow down, which is hard when you have big dreams.
Yes. It is really hard because it almost feels like those dreams can become pressure
Yes.
and but pressure in a good way and pressure in
Yes.
exciting and but
Totally.
but the scope of it is realizing what is meant for you will not miss you.
Yeah.
It's going to be there for you. It's not running away because you're not doing enough. You are doing enough and you're valuing your priorities. Like one of
Mhm.
my values is I go to the gym each day and I lift and I
Yep.
walk or I do yoga.
Yeah.
And it is just part of my day that really cements like joy in my life and gives me more energy. And I think that is beautiful that we can put in things into our schedules that we value. And there will
Mhm.
always be more, there will always be more to do. There will always be more things to hit.
Totally.
But it's okay that we can trust and surrender to the timing that things are meant for
Mhm.
us. And so they're not going to leave. They're not going to jump ship, and it's all going to work in our favor for us. And have you felt that as this, like, I guess this year of like going from this overworking to being more present? Like,
100%. I have had my best year in so many ways. I mean, I launched a book. I've had my best year in real estate. I hosted my largest event for Sister Circle, my business education community back in April when I was just a few months postpartum. Like, we have done, we meaning my team, because
yeah,
I don't do any of this alone. We have done so much this year, and I've worked way less, which I think is just a testament to what is possible when you are really intentional. But it's so interesting because it doesn't mean that like mental piece is always, that doesn't go away, I think. Like I think
right.
that's something that I'm constantly working with is the mindset behind I can work less and make more money. I can, let it be effortless. I can surrender to the season I'm in or like you were saying like what's for me won't pass me. I'm just not running at the speed that maybe I'm used to.
Yes.
But I'm still moving forward and I'm still being
Yes.
really intentional. But it is the it's the mental because we're so
Yes.
critical of ourselves. And
Yes.
being a new mom, like everything is new. And, there's still a season where it's like there's so much you don't know that I found that even being a new mom and all the uncertainty that came with that actually like killed my confidence, which I never expected that. And I feel like no one talks about that. But like being a new mom can actually make you feel like a bit of an imposter or like you
Yeah.
don't know what you're doing. And that like trickles into other areas of your life and your work and your business. So that I think has been my biggest struggle this year is just the mental piece of everything that comes with a new season, a new identity, a new person to take care of, all of those things.
Yes, and that has I have felt that way too because I thought that thought has come to me over and over again is, well, if here's your child that you should be able to know what to do and what to take care of, and you're not doing a good job. So how can you do a good job in other places, do you know? And it is so hard to battle that emotional fatigue
Yeah.
of,
Yeah.
and be resilient towards that, and I feel like, how have you, I guess, navigated that?
I think it goes back to similar to what you said, just like taking care of myself. So if I don't get to my whole to-do list, but I got a workout in, or I got a
Yes.
walk in, or I got
Yeah.
even just some quiet time reading a book, like that is a win for me because there are so many women that will just completely forget about themselves alongside being a mom and trying to grow or run a business or whatever your career path
Yes.
is. Like, I think it's so easy to focus on work and then who you're caring for instead of just like also prioritizing caring for yourself. So that has been the key for me is like movement, mindfulness, reading, journaling, walking outside in nature. And the
Yes.
hard part is that never, I mean, a workout is one thing, but I feel like a
Yes.
lot of those things don't feel productive. They almost feel like time wasters in a lot of
Yes.
ways, right? But that's how I ground myself to then be able to do the work that I need to do and feel the confidence and the energy and the
Yes.
excitement around what I'm building and when I'm taking care of myself. So I think that has been my biggest way to combat a lot of the mental struggles or challenges
Yes.
of motherhood and entrepreneurship is just really taking care of myself well and showing up for
Yes.
myself even on the days when I don't feel like it, right? Because there
Yes.
were plenty of like my son is almost 10 months old and he just started sleeping through the night like a month ago. So
Oh
like,
my
you just don't even realize it until you're out of that season. You're like, "Holy cow, how was I doing
yes.
that?" And then nursing, I nursed for 9
Oh
months
my
and
gosh.
pumping and all of those things. It's like the mental load of doing all of those things and taking care of other people and then trying to run a business. You have
Yes.
to take care of yourself. And I think that goes for any age of kids, any season of life or business is like
Yes.
really having those grounding practices to like not only show up for yourself, but to tap back into that intuition, which has always been a
Yes.
really big piece for me in my own life and businesses is just having enough quiet to be able to like hear myself and
Yes.
beyond the noise and the chatter of the criticism of, self-talk like actually getting down to what is true for me and what do I need to like really fill up my cup in this moment, which you can't hear if you're just constantly busy.
Yes, yes, that constant busyness is hard to hear those messages and it's hard to hear peace, you know? And
Yeah.
what we need to do is because we have so much noise going on up here, we have so much noise on the outside, so we need to feel and make peace an investment that it really is in our
Wow.
bodies. And how does that feel? And I teach my clients all the time. I'm like, we use somatic tools to refuel that peace, to tell our brain, hey, I'm not going to go down that thought pattern that you're sharing with me.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to this new one now, especially if with your human design you're a generator, and so the mantra for a generator is I have the energy to bring big dreams to life step by step, better and better. And so you have the gift of having this sustainable energy, especially it gets even more sustainable when you lean into the things that you love, that
Mhm.
light up feeling, that excitement, that passion, that energy. And you can
Yeah.
handle a lot. And you also are really good at finding out what is can be better about a situation, about a project, about all these, professionally, personally, whatever it is. you can be like, wait, I can see how this is really good, but well, let's make this better. And then it will
Yeah.
like explode, you know? And you're really, really good at not only doing that for yourself, but doing that for other people and cheering them on in a way that just brings them the gift of energy. Have you seen this like this energy as a gift throughout your business?
Yeah, I think so. I
Yes.
I think stepping back and observing that, like,
Yes.
I've always felt like I've been that, like, Energizer bunny, right? Like,
Yes.
just going and going and going, which can sometimes lead me to burnout
Yes.
but that is when I'm doing things that do not light me up, right? But when I'm
Yes.
doing the things that light me up, I do feel like, yes, I have this endless energy and tenacity to, like, continue to pursue the thing as long as it is continuing to light me up. I do think
Yes.
it's where I struggle is where it's like, something becomes daunting or I run into a challenge or a roadblock that maybe isn't my genius area to like
Mhm.
figure out. But yeah, I mean, I've always been the person that is cheering on other people and motivating other people and kind of being that source of energy for others. I mean, that's what I did for 10 years as a group fitness instructor, and even how I approach business now as like a more of a business coach and strategist is giving them those, yeah, seeing maybe the missing pieces to make something better, and also just the energy to keep going. I think there's a lot of points in my journey where it would have made more sense or been easier to quit, and I just had this like tenacity to keep going when most people would probably fall off.
Yes, totally. Well, and again, generators can burn out, and we've talked about like this generator burnout, saying yes to too many things and really honing in on the yes that lights you up. So, your real strategy for you as generators and everybody listening too is to really ask yourself, does this light me up? Does
Mm.
this make me excited? Does it make me sparkle? Does it make me just like, oh, I just want to do this so bad, you know? And is that the feeling you had when you were like thinking about your book? Because writing a book is daunting. I was like, I've written a book, but I was like, oh, I should write another book. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can do it.
It is. It's such a journey. I actually wrote with like no end goal in mind. So
Oh,
I started writing as more of like therapy, honestly.
yeah.
Because I was going through this like biggest pivot of my life. It was almost 3 years ago when I decided to leave that first business and dream that I had built and chased for a full decade from my 20, like year 20 to year 30, and to walk away from that and do new things, and it like shifted my whole identity. So I actually started writing in this like kind of rock bottom valley place of
Yes.
I don't know what's next for me, but I feel like called to share these stories. So I just started writing for, I guess, fun or therapy, you could say.
Yeah.
And then I just kept writing whenever I felt inspired. There were a lot of just crazy stories along my journey that I always kind of tucked in the back of my head, like, "Ooh, this will be a good story someday in whatever book I write." And then I kept writing into the following year when I got pregnant. And so I was up at like 3 a.m. so many nights getting like downloads, but
Yeah.
pregnancy, insomnia. And I just kept writing that whole year. And by the end of the year, right before I went on maternity leave, is when I felt the push, the like intuitive nudge to
Mm.
publish,
Mm.
to birth my book in the coming year alongside, birthing my baby. And so that was more my inspiration. But the idea, I think the vision of people holding my book, reading these stories, and feeling the impact that they could have on so many other people who are in the thick of it, going through a hard season. The whole book is called Seasons of a Soulpreneur. So it really is focused on like the seasons we go through, and that relates in life and business. So I think just seeing the positive impact that it could have on people and the energy that they could gain from reading the book, especially when they are in those hard seasons, to keep going is what pushed me to the finish line of publishing. Because writing, I actually really enjoyed writing, but like even the whole publishing process is like so much work, so many decisions,
Yes.
so many like details, little pieces of it that, you kind of have to focus on, but they're
Yes.
not maybe my favorite parts of it. To get to the finish line of like people actually holding the book in their hands, excited to read it. That was the vision that I kept holding.
That's amazing. And I think that's so important and such a great way to look at things as things develop and grow or change or pivot or whatever it is like holding on to that vision of what it can be. One of my clients She was going through this pivot, and I was like, I'm like, I want you to start writing down your manifestations in a special manifestation journal that you're just going to go back to and reread over and over and over again so that you can remember. Cause again, we all forget, like when
Yeah.
we're in the details that and the ick part of it, we're like, what am I doing? You know,
Yeah,
but it helps us
totally.
believe in who we are and what we're meant to do and gives us that perspective of that vision and keeping
Yep.
that vision over and over again. Now, one of the things on your human design chart that is really impactful for you is your inner authority. Now, your inner authority is how you make decisions best. And the mantra for this is clarity comes in time. I ride
Mm.
the wave before I decide. So you get to take time to decide. Your emotional waves come in highs and lows, just like the ocean.
Yep.
And neither is truth, right? Clarity
Mhm.
only emerges in that stillness, like the when the ocean has that
Yeah.
still time, just
Yep.
that's so beautiful. My husband and I were just in Florida a few weeks ago, and the ocean had those moments of just perfect stillness,
Mhm.
and little ripples, but nothing, no big waves or anything like that. And that's what you want to get to when you're making a decision is taking time to settle. And do you notice that those highs and lows when you're making a decision and those kind of play into it all?
Oh gosh, yes, and I can think of decisions that I've made in both highs and lows and that they probably weren't most aligned,
Mm.
with what I needed at that time. So I think, yes, I have been contemplating a lot of big decisions lately on kind of like my next chapter, my next evolution. And I find that I've been craving more quiet time than normal, and it makes me a little uneasy, I think, because I am like,
Yes.
I need to get so much done because I only have this much time, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But I need the stillness now to have that clarity of like, is this the right decision? Is this
Mhm.
the right decision right now? Is this the right direction? So I have been, and yeah, have had constant signs lately, I feel like, of like slowing down, getting quiet, meditating, journaling, which I've been trying to do more of because I do feel like I have some big decisions on my plate to make. And I don't wanna make them from, like, rash, being at the, peak of energy or even in the valley. So giving myself that space to, like, really settle into it is challenging for me,
Yes.
even though I
Yes.
know that's where I need to be.
Yeah, it is really challenging, especially like again with your generator energy that's like, hey, things happen when I move, when I do
Mm, yeah.
things, when I
Yep.
go. And that's why I love like for practices that involve peace for you as a generator are like taking a walk outside, and
Mm,
doing a hobby that you love where your brain can be
yeah.
engaged and your physical sense can be engaged, but it's like, hey, I can go to this place of stillness. It's not still like where we're meditating for
Like,
2
I'm
hours.
sitting still,
Yeah,
yeah.
because you're like, "I can't do," that's hard.
Yeah.
But it's like yoga, all these things that help
Mm,
you move your body in order to get to that emotional awareness of, "Oh, yeah, this is the truth," and it's gonna take some time.
yeah.
Love the phrase, "Hey, give me a day or 2, and I'll come back to this," And it could be, "Give me a week
Mhm.
or 2," And we can say that to ourselves too. "Hey, I'm gonna decide this in a week or 2. I'm gonna feel this out," and it kinda takes off the pressure of having to make a decision right away.
Yeah.
So really the strategy here to invest in is delay commitments, sleep on it,
Mm,
allow time to be on your side and know that time is on your side when you're making a decision. And it will all
yeah.
just feel like this contentment place. And just note that it's gonna feel about 80% content. It's
Mm,
never gonna really feel like 100% content with emotional inner authorities. You're still gonna have, because
interesting.
you're human, you're still gonna have a little bit of pull of the high and a little bit of pull of the lows. So if you're about 80%, that's
Okay.
good enough, That's your 100, okay?
Okay, that is super helpful to know. Yeah, I love that.
Yes,
And it's funny you say that, like, sleep
yes,
on it. 'Cause that's
yes.
what I tell every buyer, like, when we go
Oh,
see a house. if they can sleep on it. Sometimes offers are to have rather quickly, but
Yes.
I always tell people that to sleep on a really big decision because I do think that is so important to take your time and not like, yeah, make those decisions out of the emotion or the high or low. So, taking my own advice.
That's so great. I love that. That's beautiful. And yeah, it is such a great phrase to live by because it deletes the pressure of like, oh, we have to do this right now. And
Right.
usually, unless it's life or death, you don't have to do anything right now, you know? So
Totally. Yep.
another part on your human design chart, and when we're looking at that body graph part, it has all these centers, kind of like what chakras are, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and like each center has a gift that you were born with. And so
Mm.
you have this if we look at the throat part of your human design, you have that center colored in green. And that means that when they're colored in green, that center's gift is with you all the time.
Mm.
Always. When they're colored in white, it kinda comes in ebbs and flows, you know?
Okay.
So, with this green center that you have all the time, you have this gift of being able to communicate. So, the mantra for this is, "My words are my gift. They land and they inspire." And
Mm.
so, your words have impact. You have this ability to land your messages. You're here to speak. You're here to share with your voice, and your voice resonates and transforms and inspires other people. Through your journey, has it been a journey to trust your voice and what you're saying, or did that just has that always come naturally to you?
Think that I've always felt called to share, whether it was through speaking,
Yes.
singing, like writing. I've
Mhm.
always loved writing. I've never been like afraid of public speaking. I love just like self expression, I think,
Yes.
in general. I mean, I was going to be a teacher and I
Oh,
ended up teaching just, fitness and yoga. And now I teach business. So, like, I've always had that, I think, voice or feel called to share and
yes.
teach whatever I have learned or passionate about. I
Yes.
do think that I struggle with feeling like what I have to share is of value
Mhm.
sometimes, right? So, like, questioning my own value in what I'm saying. Is it helpful? Is it, are people sick of hearing from me now? And that's, I think, too, like, as you get older, you just kind of learn to like dim your light so that you're not
Yes.
too much for people. So I do think that's something that I've had to wrestle with in the last, I don't know, decade or so is just not really caring if I'm speaking too much
Yes.
or if people want to tune me out, then they can do that. Like they have the right to do that.
Yes.
But to just continue to show up and share authentically with my own voice and not feeling like I need to sit back and be quiet or okay, I've said enough, now I need to like shut up a little
Mhm.
bit or even just like as much as being present on social media, like,
Yes.
people don't want to follow, like whatever. So I think that that is part of it is I've always had this natural call to want to show up and share, but
Mhm.
sometimes I think just based on how we see other people, we maybe like, pull it back a little bit. We
Yes.
don't want to shine too much. We don't want to be too much for other people. So I've found myself doing that over the
Yes.
last, I don't know, decade or so, just wondering if what I have to say is of value.
Yeah, well, and that's natural too, because we, especially in the Instagram world, it's hard not to compare ourselves to other people. It's hard not to be like, oh, wow, look at this, you know? And there's
Mhm.
that natural tendency to be, to wonder and be, about our talent and our gift. And when those thoughts come in of, and this happens to everybody, right? Like, yeah, should I share this? What am I being too much? You can tell your brain, hey, this is the gift I was born with. I'm meant to say
Mhm.
this. And you'll be able to land the message that you're meant to share. I've had to do this when I go on stage. I'm like, my brain's like, you should not be here. What are you doing?
Yeah,
And then,
yeah,
and then I'm like, wait a second. I was born with this gift. Let's just play and have fun with it. It doesn't have to be
yeah.
so serious and so crazy, you know? It can just be fun and enjoyable. And so I think that's what I love about human design. It gives us another anchor point to have peace and to dispel thoughts that are really lies, It's a lie
Mhm.
of that thought. Have you had is it fun to speak to like to your clients and speak on stage and speak in other arenas? Is it do you, and like with your book, that's another part of speaking. Do you enjoy like when it comes down to it?
I
Yeah.
know that's my purpose and what I'm
Yes.
here to do, so it is annoying that we question ourselves,
Yes.
right, when we're given these gifts, but I think sometimes they're just it's like how we perceive other people
Yes.
perceiving us, right? So
Yes.
But I do find just what you said, like when I just focus on the fun and showing up as myself and sharing authentically and having fun with it, whether that's through like social media, writing my book, stepping on a stage, and when I have fun with it, then yes, whatever the message that needs to land that day is going to come through. And I trust
Yes.
that because I do the same thing. It's like even when I host my big event and I'm on stage and I know about maybe half of what I'm actually going to say, and then the rest, I just pray that
Yes.
Spirit or God will give me the words to connect on the level
Yes.
that I'm trying to with the audience there that day, even if it's one person that really
Yes.
something lands. And that's what I told myself about my book, even was,
Yes.
if one person is positively impacted from these stories, then it's worth it. So I do think that I've had to tell myself that so many times in the last couple years because as you continue to push your envelope of what you're
Yes.
doing, whether it's stepping onto stages, publishing a book, showing up more on social, making a podcast, the more visible you are forcing yourself to be, I think the louder our criticism becomes, whether it's like actual criticism or just our self talk, because we are doing things that are uncomfortable. And
Yes.
so I have definitely pushed my envelope the last couple years, which I've had to work on overcoming some of those fears or just like negative self talk around what other people think or being too much and
Yes.
just like get back to what am I here to do? I'm here to show up, share from a place of purpose and passion and positively impact other people. If I shut my voice off, then I'm not doing that, right? I'm not
Yes.
living to my full potential. So sometimes we just got to be our own best friend and be like, "What are
Yes.
you doing?" Stop doing that.
Yes,
And we can
exactly.
never tell our friends to shut up and be quiet.
Yes, exactly. And that's where I think like the is this identifying the lie. You know, not all these thoughts are like going in the right direction. And so we can be like, wait a second, I am meant to speak. I am meant to share my messages. I'm meant to have them land. And that's really the strategy to invest in to utilize this gift is to speak more, is to find ways that you can play around in the space with speaking, whether it's like, on social media or in a book or even voice messages. I tend to
Oh,
send a
yeah.
lot of voice messages because it's just
Love
so
voice note.
easy. Yes, it's so nice.
Yes.
And so, utilizing like where can I speak it more in my career and personally as well and play around with it and have fun because it does tap
Yeah,
into that joy as well. So,
totally.
one other part on your chart, when we're looking at that body graph part, there's all these lines on there, right? Now, some of these lines are kind of long and they're colored in. Some are colored in and they're shorter. Well, the ones that are shorter are gates. The
Mm,
ones that are longer are channels. Both of those are gifts that you were born with. And so your gate that I pulled is gate 40. And the mantra for this, the mantra is, I have a selfless servant heart. So you love to give and you love to provide to your tribe. You give this well of beautiful energy and you help others to rise up. And you give so much to them, but it is one of your gifts. And we think about too these gifts like, oh, doesn't everybody do that? But not in the way that you give as this selfless servant heart of this true energy to energy, this true love to one another. And people can feel though that gift. They can feel it within their soul. And so with being a beautiful giver, you give a lot. Have you noticed this kind of pattern for good as well as kind of some like overgiving in your life?
Oh, 100%. I think this is actually where a lot of my burnout or even resentment comes
Mhm.
in because sometimes like I give
Yes.
so much that and I don't feel it reciprocated. And it
Mhm.
maybe isn't from someone directly, but just in general sometimes it's like, when we are putting out so much energy and passion and,
Yes.
opportunities for other people and they don't always take them, which obviously that they have free will to take them or not take them. But I do feel that sometimes I just overgive out of a
Yes.
place of, yeah, like just wanting to help other people. And it's not even that I expect reciprocation, but I want it to be appreciated, I think is the
Yes.
biggest thing. And sometimes we give and it's not appreciated. And that's where I think some of that has over the years I've seen cause
Yes.
resentment, not necessarily
Yes.
in one person in particular,
Right.
but just as a whole because we are giving our energy and our passion to other people and it's not always welcomed, appreciated, or well received.
Yes, right. And that overgiving, a lot of our gifts can also be our greatest challenges, and when you
Yeah.
feel yourself overgiving, it's kind of a sign of burnout, of giving too
Yeah.
much. And it's okay to, as a strategy, to say no to some things.
Exactly.
Again, going back to leading with whatever's lighting you up, and that goes into giving as well, too. And who do you serve? And we don't need to serve everybody. We just need to serve those that we're feeling called to serve.
For
And
sure.
then allow other people to show up how they're going to show up and check the box that you're shining your light and you're giving what you need to give, but you're not deleting yourself in order to give?
Yeah, and I actually found so in last year, I had my
Yes.
son in November last year, and I felt like I was receiving so much love and support and help, even after he was born. And then I felt like, well, I need to give this back to them, right? In the same way that they gave it to me. But now I'm in a season being a new mom myself, and I still, I don't have the same level of time or energy or capacity like I did previously. So that has been something that I think I've wrestled with too is like,
Yeah.
well, I want to give to people in the way that they gave to me, but I'm also not necessarily in the place to do that. So,
Yeah.
how can I give and be helpful and be supportive in this season when I don't have an abundance of time and energy? So, trying to figure that out has been really
Yeah.
interesting as well.
Yeah. And that is, and it's, yeah, it's that need to serve and that need to love,
Mhm.
can fill your bucket, but also recognizing when it's you get to be served, you get to be
Yeah.
loved without having to give that back. And
Without having to be like,
yes,
okay, now I need to
yes, yeah,
give it back and
it
forth.
can be one-sided and that is okay. And that's
Yeah, that's really hard
yes,
for me.
yes.
Really hard.
Yeah, and that strategy for this too is like again to honor yourself. I think that's the part that comes in so deeply is to honor yourself. When you receive, you're also honoring yourself. And so
Mhm.
you're actually loving yourself as you receive. Steph, this has been so fun and so amazing. I have loved
Yep.
every single part of your chart. And I know that people want to get involved with your book. They want to get your book. They want to get involved in your world. How do they do that best?
Well, I would love that. I'd love to connect. I hang out a lot on Instagram at Stephanie Lee. That's Lea Ross. But I'm also like, you can find my website. It's just stephanieleeross.com. That has all the details on the book. It's on Amazon, Seasons of a Soulpreneur, and it's for anyone. You don't have to be a small business owner to enjoy the lessons and the inspiring stories in there. And then my business is Small Business Sister Circle, which again on Instagram or sistercircle.
I love that. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much. Thank you again, Stephanie, for being on the show today. It's been so fabulous.
Thank you for having me. I have loved this conversation.
And listeners, thank you so much for being on here. Thank you so much for showing up. If you haven't pulled your human design chart from my site, go to the link in the comments. I would absolutely love it if you could just take a moment to rate and subscribe the podcast. It really helps these messages be shared more. It helps everybody to rise together. And when we link arms and we understand everybody has challenges and everybody has strengths and gifts, we see ourselves in each other and we can link our arms together. And remember that peace isn't found in more, it's found in just being you. All right, we'll see you inside the next episode.